Hi, I'm Diane Lucas, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He's a speaker, endurance athlete, and of course, an author of the book Cycle of Lives. No other than Mr. David Richman.
Good day, Daniel. How are you, sir?
I'm fabulous, Mr. David, and thank you so much for being part on Book 101 Review. And can you please introduce more about yourself?
Sure. So, my name's David Richman. I do a lot of things in life, but one of the things I do is write books. This is my fourth book that I've written that has been published. This one, Cycle of Lives, is the most recent, and was a project that I worked on for many years to formulate the idea for the book. And then by the time I embarked on the project, it was one that I worked on for about 5 years straight. And it was a great project, and I felt very, very good about the process, the overall project that I wanted to undertake was to explain to people not cancer, not the medical part of cancer, but the emotional side of it. And so I wanted to do that because we oftentimes don't find it very easy to talk to people that are going through trauma, and I wanted to write this book understanding how can we start those hard conversations. So that was the purpose of my book, and I think we might have pulled it off.
Mr. David Richman, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge to the world. The title is so powerful. What does Cycle of Lives represent to you personally?
Sure. So thank you, Daniel. That's a good question. Cycle of Lives. The book was called this because of the following. So Cycle of Lives has multiple meanings. And we have all a life cycle, right? We're born, we live whatever time we're given to live, and then we die, and that's a life cycle. The cycle of lives is when we think of it as just not us, but in a collective. That's where the lives come from. In this book, what I wanted to do was to get 15 people whose stories were incredibly unique. Their traumas that they went through, such as addiction, abandonment, incarceration, making bad decisions, being abused. I mean, you name it. I wanted all the kinds of traumas to explore with people and put that in relation to the emotional journey of cancer. Either if they were a doctor, what kind of emotions they were going through, if they were a patient, a survivor, a loved one. So the cycle of lives is a lot of different lives, seeing the beginning to end of that journey. Additionally, Cycle of Lives, when I interviewed them, I didn't know most of them, Daniel. I hadn't met most of them. I had only talked to them on the phone for a couple of years and really learned about their lives through many, many deep interviews. And so the Cycle of Lives part of it is also, I jumped on my bicycle after I was done interviewing them, and I rode my bicycle 5,000 miles across the country. I zigzagged all over the country to meet with them, and that connected the story. So the Cycle of Lives is kind of a play on words. It's both the life cycle and the cycle of all these lives and how they might come together, and then me bicycling to see them. So that's where I came up with the title Cycle of Lives.
Mr. David, how did you choose the 15 people whose stories are featured in the book?
So Daniel, I found them by cold calling hospitals and cancer centers. I asked friends to tell me stories that they thought were compelling, uh, and I asked them to introduce me to people. Um, so I went on a journey to find the right people, and what kind of people I wanted, Daniel, was that I wanted people who point A is when they encountered cancer, either as a patient or as a loved one or a doctor, a nurse, or something who decided they wanted to go into oncology. So, point A is when they discovered cancer or encountered cancer. Point B is today. So, how did they navigate, or oftentimes, how were they not able to navigate the emotional difficulty of encountering cancer? How were they able to navigate that journey in relation to all the traumas that happened before point A? So, in other words, I couldn't, Daniel, really understand what somebody's going through that maybe has metastatic breast cancer. I might not understand what somebody's going through who's caring for somebody with colon cancer. Or I might not understand what it means to be a pediatric oncology nurse. I don't understand that. But I do understand the other traumas: addiction, abuse, abandonment, being bullied at school, having parents abandon you, whatever the traumas that I could identify with them. So what when I tried to find the book participants, I tried to find people who had very, very interesting, relatable stories about the traumas in their lives, so I could identify with them as a human. Then I could maybe start a hard conversation about their cancer, the emotion of their cancer. How are they dealing with death? How are they dealing with watching somebody die? How are they dealing with caring for people that have cancer? So that I could have conversations to understand more about what they're going through on an emotional basis around this crazy thing, cancer. And so, long answer to your question, Daniel, but I wanted to find stories that were compelling, very diverse, very different, with so that I could understand how can I relate to people that are having very big difficulty around the emotions of cancer. How can I relate to them and start a hard conversation? And so, by telling their unique stories about the traumas in their lives, it might educate the reader to understand how can I start these hard conversations with people in my life.
Mr. David, let's explore about the stories itself.
Mm-hmm.
How did these individuals respond to sharing such personal and vulnerable experiences?
Mm. Yeah, some couldn't, Daniel. Some people couldn't do it, and couldn't blame them because, first of all, they're very hard subjects. How do you talk about these things? Um, but I gave people a safe space, and I told them that the whole goal here is that um, anybody that has trauma, and I'm sure you're very familiar with this, Daniel, as anybody listening is familiar with this. Trauma can be a very lonely place, and a very vulnerable place because we are afraid if we let people in and tell them about our trauma that they might abandon us, or they might not understand. They might discount it. We might be embarrassed to tell them. We might feel guilty because it brings them down. So oftentimes, trauma can be very lonely because we don't talk about it. And a lot of times, think about anybody you know, anybody that's listening. Sometimes somebody's going through something really, really difficult, and you know they are, and you ask them, "How are you doing?" And they go, I'm fine. I don't really want to talk about it. And oftentimes, we feel pretty good that we don't want to talk to them about it because it's very uncomfortable. So, the way I got them to talk to me, and when people could, is to let them know that the purpose of our talk was so that we could get down to the essence, the very essence of who they are and what they were going through in a real, authentic way, with the one purpose of helping people understand what are they going through so that we can maybe understand how to start hard conversations to maybe make it a little less lonely of a place to go through. And so when I talk to people, I gave them a very safe space. I just wanted to understand their stories and understand what they went through on a real non-anonymous basis. All the stories are real. They're all true. All the facts are true. And they're not hidden. The names haven't been changed or anything. So that we could really just help people start hard conversations. And so when they were armed with our purpose, Daniel, then and I was safe for them to tell me their stories, then I could get deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper.
Mr. David, let's talk about the emotional side of cancer. Why do
Mhm.
you think the emotional side of cancer is often overlooked in conversations and care?
Yeah, because it's much easier to deal with the medical side of it, Daniel. It's so much easier. It's so much easier to say, here's how you get better care, or here's how you navigate insurance, or here's how you can get help from coworkers to maybe feed your kids while you go to chemo. Or we're all good about tasks of cancer. I can eat better. I sleep better. What do I need to do to make it through chemotherapy? And like all of this stuff is very, very easy because it's tangible. It's a good equation. Oh, I need to sleep more. I got to do this. Oh, I need to eat better. I do this. So it's a very tangible thing, right? We can wrap our brain around treatment, maybe even a little bit around prevention. We can wrap our brain around it. But the emotional side of it, Daniel, people don't like to talk about it because it's embarrassing. It's vulnerable. It's private. People feel guilty. They feel worthless. They don't want to bring others down. They don't want to put a spotlight on them and have to face how bad life is sometimes. So there's a lot of reasons why we just don't want to pay attention to it. And boy, that's in life, right? In life, emotions is a very hard thing to talk about, Daniel. Very, very hard. And especially if it's negative emotion or negative trauma. Um, when I started the book, if you don't mind me continuing, when I started to talk to people, Daniel, you couldn't believe the stories of what they had been through in their lives. You couldn't believe it. And you're just like going, how in the world did you ever make it alive? How could you have dealt with the things you dealt with? And they go, I just do what I do and I'm just living my life and it's not that interesting. And it's because they never talked about it. And they never faced the real trauma that they've been through. And everybody's been through it. But we just don't talk about it.
Truly inspiring, Mr. David. Truly amazing. And keep up the good work. What advice do you have for people who want to talk about cancer but don't know how to start the conversation?
Yeah, that's a good thing. And I'm not a therapist. I'm not a preacher. Like I don't know how to tell people what to do. What I can tell you is that when I was interviewing people, 100% of the people that I spoke to had some level of it's very lonely. It's very difficult to talk. And if you think about it, um, maybe not always in life, but let me give you an analogy that's probably simple for people to understand. Okay. You're having a very good day. Life is good. You got a spouse at home that loves you. Your kids are in sports and you're going to go watch them play and you had a good day at work. You even got a raise and man, life is good. Your friend called you, gave you good news and you're like, life is good. Okay. and you're walking down the hallway and you see a coworker who looks a little down, and you know the coworker's going through something, and you look at the coworker and you go, "Hey, how's it going?" And the coworker goes, "It's all right. It's okay. Life's good, I guess." And you go, "Okay," and you keep walking because you don't want to say anything. You don't want to bring them down. You don't want to brag about your good day because they're having a tough day. They don't want to say anything to you because they can feel your positive energy. They don't want to bring you down, and you're never going to understand anyway. And so they don't really tell you, and you don't really ask, and it's good because you can both keep walking and go to your lives. Okay, that analogy, everybody has to understand that in one way or another. Okay, the hard thing to do is to stop for a moment and 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 figure out a way to connect with them in an authentic way. And sometimes, Daniel, what I do is when I think somebody might be not safe to tell me what's going on, or if I'm moving too fast, or if maybe there's a serious subject that somebody wants to talk about, but I can sense it's going to be very uncomfortable to do so, then I just take it back and I talk to them. And just yesterday it happened. Just yesterday, I met a friend, and she came out. She's in the middle of chemotherapy for metastatic breast cancer, and she's in day 7 of a 30-day regimen of radiation. And she was at a barbecue with her husband and son, and it was very uncomfortable to start the conversation because I didn't want to invade her privacy, and I didn't want her to think like be self-conscious. But I just said, "How are you doing?" And she said, "Oh, I'm okay." And I said, I know you're okay, but literally, how are you doing? Like, talk to me. How's the chemo, how's the radiation going? How's it making you feel at night? "Oh, are you able to sleep?" "No." "Why?" "Okay, tell me more, tell me more." And we sat and we talked for a half hour, and it was amazing that she could tell me all the stuff that she wanted to tell me, but I had to stop and take a minute. And so, again, another long answer to your question, but it is, how do we do it? We just take a deep breath, and we know it's going to be uncomfortable to get it started. But more than anything, people want to connect with you. And if you care and you're authentic, and you want to connect with them, then you give each other a safe space, and only good can come from it.
Indeed, Mr. David. So, as an author, what would be your short-term and long-term goals in writing?
Ah, well, short-term goals, write more books. Long-term goal, write more books. So that's it.
Awesome.
Look, the lives are busy. A million books get published every year, and we got movies and television and lives and podcasts and a million great, wonderful things to get information. I love putting down a good book or a good podcast, a good movie, or a good interview, and I love taking a couple of things from it and adapting it to my life. And that's what I hope to do with the stories that I tell, is that people could take something from it and apply it to their life and be enhanced. So as long as I have something to say and people are willing to listen, I guess I'm going to keep writing, just like you're going to keep podcasting.
Yes, indeed. Good luck to your goals, Mr. David, and looking for more and more and more empowering books like this to come. And what will be your advice for those people out there suffering from illness?
Yeah, I would say that there is, as much as you don't want to talk about it, you should. As much as you want to talk about it and are afraid people don't care, they do. And so I would just say that there isn't any easy fix to the emotional side of what you're going through. But if you feel abandoned and you feel lonely and you feel like you're going to bring people down, I promise you they want to talk to you as much as you want to talk to them. And if they're connecting with you on an authentic basis, it's not going to be about them. It's going to be about you. And I think nothing can go wrong when you're able to communicate on an authentic level with people. So I would say if you're going through something, um, realize that the people around you care. They just don't know how to talk to you, and they're afraid to do so. And so give them an opening, give them an opportunity to show you they care, and then you can start connecting on a real authentic level.
Thank you for your advice, Mr. David. So let's
Yeah.
talk about your personal journey in the book itself. How did you personally learn about grief, resilience, or healing throughout your 5,000-mile journey?
Yeah. Well, the impetus for the book started, Daniel, when my sister was dying of brain cancer. And I thought to myself, as I'm watching people, like they're really good about talking about the tasks around the cancer, but not the emotion. And I don't know that I was any good about talking about emotional things either, but I noticed that it was really difficult for people to talk about it. And um, I'll tell you this really quick story. Um, we were at a charity event, me and my kids. They were 9 years old, twins. And it was very shortly after my sister had passed away, and we were walking around a track doing a fundraiser for cancer, and this lady was sitting on the road on the track crying, and my son walked up and asked her what was wrong, and she said, "Oh, my mom and my dad both died this year from cancer, and I'm feeling so alone." And I walked up on my son and I said, "Hey, would you like us to talk to you?" And she said, "Would you please?" And she hadn't talked to anybody. She hadn't talked to anybody, not even her husband, about the total grief that she was feeling, because it was such a lonely, desolate, desperate place. And so my journey was in coming to the realization that people want to talk and they want to connect, and I can learn from them, and maybe not help them, but just be there with them. And maybe they're not going to help me, but they could just be there with me. And so that was my journey, is to understand that more communications better than less, and that we can all benefit from being able to connect.
Mr. David, how did the physical challenge of the bike ride affect your emotional connection to the stories?
Yeah. So, physical part of the a bike ride was really, really difficult. So, um, just super quick for anybody that has some understanding of endurance athletics. Um, I did 4,500 miles in 41 days. So that was about 120 miles on a bicycle by myself. I did have some support. So that was good, but I was biking by myself, and it was very, very hard. I averaged just under 12 hours every day for 41 out of 45 days. And if you can imagine what that might be like, Daniel, uh, being on a bicycle for 12 hours every day, day after day, is definitely no fun.
No
It was
fun.
very raw. It's very, very, very difficult, and the emotional uh, rawness was so close that it was really difficult. In a lot of ways, it was fun, but it was really, really difficult, right? And so
Indeed.
I learned a lot on that bike ride, a lot.
Mr. David, how has this book changed you as a writer, a human, and a listener?
So how did it change me as a writer? Okay, I'll tell you how it changed me as a writer. I wrote the book, uh, and I wrote it interview style. So me interviewing the 15 participants, and I kind of told it through an interview style narrative. And I sent the book to my editor, and she sent it back to me and said, "You missed the point. It's terrible. You have to rewrite the book because you got it all wrong." And I went, "What?" Because I thought the book was amazing. And she said, "No, you missed the whole point of the book." And I said, What?" And she said, "You don't belong in their stories. Their stories are not about you. Even if you're the interviewer, that makes you part of their story. You're not a part of their story. Okay? The reader doesn't care about how you interacted with them. The reader cares about them." And I went, "Oh." So I rewrote the book, and I made it first person, each story telling its own story, regardless of anybody but the reader, just telling their story to the reader. And I rewrote it and I sent it to my editor, and she said, "Almost. You almost got it right." And I said, "What did I mess up this time?" And she said, "Well, you told the 15 stories, but you didn't tell the story about you and your bike ride and how you met these people and what kind of emotional journey you went on." And I went, "Nobody cares about that." And she goes, "Yeah, nobody cares. That's what every one of your 15 stories said. Nobody cares. It's not that interesting." She goes, "They want to know your story too." So I think what I learned from writing, Daniel, is that don't tell people what you think they want to hear. Uh, let the story tell them what they need to hear. Don't you become part of that. Just tell the story. Don't let the story do the work, not your writing.
Totally agree with you, Mr. David. But before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do grab or please do visit my Book 101 review merchandise, people, because we believe on Book 101 review. Read it, wear it, and live it. That's the Book 101 way, because Book 101 review merchandise, we are offering lots of merchandise like white glossy mag, all over print, recycled unisex, t-shirt, hats, and many more. So please do visit our shop of fortwall.com, and more merchandise to come. So, Mr. David, what do you hope the long term impact of cycle of lives will be for individuals, families, and the cancer community?
No, yeah, it's a big goal. But you know what? Honestly, I wrote the book to help that people were able to start the hard conversations. And so when you're walking by the person in the hallway, and the example that I gave a few minutes ago, that you can stop and say, "I know you say you're okay, but does that really mean you're okay? Because I want to hear." And maybe instead of passing by and saying, "Phew, I didn't have to have that conversation," maybe you could just stop and put your arm around that person and walk the same direction, other way down the hallway, and say, "Talk to me." And that other person, instead of feeling like, "Phew, I didn't have to talk to them and tell them my problems and bring them down and 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 be all alone, maybe I can include somebody else." And so my goal is that these stories should inspire people to understand the true magnitude of what people go through, what they went through in their lives, the traumas that they have endured, just like us, and allow us to connect with them on a deeper level so that we can start those conversations. So the long-term goal from the book is what the base goal of the book is, just helping people start the hard conversations.
Mr. David Richman, thank you so much for sharing your books to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support all your books?
Yeah, for sure. So thank you. Cyclelives.org. It's a nonprofit. We also have books on Amazon and Audible. Um, yeah, so just support the book, and all the proceeds go. 100% of the proceeds go to support cancer organizations. Those are listed inside the book and on the website. So not only is it a good book that I think can help, but also 100% of the proceeds go to help the cancer organizations that support people going through it.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. David Richman because if you support him, more and more and more empowering books like this to come. So, Mr. David, can you please invite our listeners to buy your other books too, aside from Cycles of Lives?
Sure. The other book, a couple of industry books, but the other book that's for general consumption is called Winning in the Middle of the Pack. That's also on Amazon and also available on my website, cycleoflives.org. So that talks about endurance athletics and how to get the most out of ourselves, even when nobody's looking. And when we enter a race, the Boston Marathon was today. A lot of people, thousands, tens of thousands of people went into that race for themselves and not for a medal. It's a book about that kind of stuff, winning in the middle of the pack. So that's the other good book that I think your readers might enjoy.
Mr. David Richman, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me, Daniel.
Welcome, people. See you soon.